Welcome to the InstructorLive Podcast with me, Austin Wilks, your home for fitness, wellness and motivation. Today's episode is all about emotional eating, something that so many of us experience but rarely talk about. I had a great conversation with Maxine Palmer, a registered dietitian who specialises in weight loss, gut health and women's wellbeing. We originally recorded this live for our community, but Maxine's insight was so valuable, I wanted to bring it to the podcast. You'll hear her voice throughout, and I've re-recorded my own questions to give you the clearest experience possible. So if you've ever reached for chocolate when stressed, skipped meals without real hunger, or wondered why your energy dips lead to snacks, this one's for you. Let's jump in. The InstructorLive Podcast with me, Austin Wilks, your home for fitness, wellness and motivation. So to start off, Maxine, tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm a registered dietitian. I work in the NHS. I also have my own private freelance consultancy service called Restore Nutrition. So I help people with a range of health problems, specialising in weight loss and irritable bowel syndrome and women's health as well.
So let's start with the basics. Maxine, what is emotional eating and how can someone tell the difference between physical and emotional hunger?
So emotional eating is something that most of us do, and it's really just using food to deal with your emotions. You may feel as though you're hungry, but actually it's just an emotion that's driving that hunger. Many of us don't even recognize when we're hungry. Next time you're hungry, have a think about how that feels, because there's more than one type of hunger. One type of hunger is emotional, and the other type of hunger is physical hunger. So the difference between the two, that physical hunger is that your body actually needs some calories now. You really do need to eat. And emotional hunger is you're feeling a certain emotion, could be a range of emotions, and your body is dealing with that by making you feel hungry because it thinks food will help.
Are there any common triggers that you see come up time and time again when it comes to emotional eating?
I've noticed that the most common one is stress. Working from home stress seems to be a big one, and that people are getting to normally mid-afternoon and just feeling so stressed that they just feel they need to eat something. Boredom is another big one. A lot of emotional eating seems to happen in the evening after the kids have gone to bed, the dishes are done, you sit down on the settee to relax for the day, put on TV, start to feel bored. And that's another key time for emotional snacking.
We've touched on stress and boredom, but how does tiredness and poor sleep tie into emotional eating?
Tiredness, you could be working long hours all the time and you're just drained, you're not sleeping well, and that can trigger emotional eating. Poor sleep is a massive trigger for emotional eating the next day.
So once someone has identified that they're emotionally eating, what can they do about it? What strategies really work?
Once you've identified what your trigger is, most of the triggers have common coping strategies. So once you realise that you have emotional hunger and you realise what time of day you have it, think about what happened before that. So with most people, they can identify, it was really stressful that day. Or if you're watching TV in the evening, it's most likely to be boredom. Once you've identified that, then you can adapt your coping strategy to the situation. So if it's work driven and it's stress, think about taking a break. First of all, the good news about emotional hunger is that it can be distracted from. If you have a distraction for 20 minutes to half an hour, after that, the emotional hunger will be gone. You won't feel hungry anymore. It's just a short-lived, intense hunger. Physical hunger, you'll continue to feel hungry until you eat. Finding a distraction is quite crucial.
Can you share some specific examples of what a good distraction looks like when that craving hits?
If it's a work-based one, it could be something like taking a walk, listening to some music at the same time. If you're at home, it could be doing a puzzle. It could be something else like that. A good distraction technique is something that involves your brain and hands together. So think about TV is not a good one. If you're watching TV, your hands are free. So your brain's going to say you could easily be eating those crisps. If you're doing something with your hands at the same time, it could be a crossword on your phone, or it could be just something you enjoy. You don't feel the need to go and get it anymore because your brain's occupied and so are your hands.
Stress is such a common trigger for emotional eating. Are there any simple stress management techniques you can recommend?
The first thing I'd recommend for stress is taking breaks. And that's something people find hard to do when they're working from home, is taking regular breaks. That seems to be the key time for stress-driven eating behaviours. So take a break. And if you're going to have something to eat, if you can take a walk, that's not always possible. And it's not always possible to engage your brain again at that time of day. You just engaged it at work. So for then, I'd recommend taking a snack, actually having a snack. Make sure you eat the snack in a room that's separate to the food. So if you're working in the dining room, for example, go in a different room, go in the living room where there's a food-free zone. Already have snacks ready in there, healthy snack available. Some people are in the habit of keeping little snacks in a drawer in their desk. It could be chocolate, it could be crisps. I wouldn't recommend that, just because you will, if you feel emotionally hungry, that's what you're going to turn to. So make your working environment a food-free zone. Take a break somewhere else and have a healthier snack. Have it ready there waiting for you. When you eat it mindfully. So mindful eating is really just engaging in only the food. So there's nothing else going on. There's no TV on, there's no work computer, you're somewhere else, you're not thinking about anything else, just only the food. When you eat it, really think about the taste. Ideal length of time for a meal is 15 minutes, longer than 15 minutes. That gives the full signal a chance to be activated. Nothing else going on in the room. Forces you to slow down, your brain and gut communicate, and you feel more satisfied. And then, have you ever done this? So you've eaten a meal, it's been a decent sized meal, you've eaten it quickly, and you go in the kitchen and you're looking for something else to eat, and you're thinking, I've just eaten my meal though, why am I still hungry? And then so if that happens to you, think about how quickly you ate that meal and whether that could be a factor.
Is it true that sometimes we mistake thirst for hunger? And what's your advice there?
That is real. So thirst is definitely confusing. When you're thirsty, it can often feel like hunger. So always start with a drink. You might not want water. It could be a low sugar drink. Just go with whatever you're going to keep up with. Water is, of course, the best drink that there is, but go for whatever is realistic. If you like sugar-free squash, have that.
How does a hormone imbalance like thyroid issues, for example, affect emotional eating?
So I see women with polycystic ovarian syndrome, endometriosis, and your thyroid hormone basically controls your metabolism and controls your hunger signals. So if you have a thyroid issue, it can change how hungry you feel. And women with polycystic ovarian syndrome often feel hungry often, all the time. And so they'll eat more because the hormones are out of balance and that's driving their hunger.
Are women more likely to struggle with emotional eating than men?
I found that women in general suffer more from emotional eating than men do. Men also have it, but I think it is more of a woman's thing. Our emotions lead a lot of our decision making in some cases, and we are more emotional beings in some situations. I found that most of my clients who are female suffer with emotional eating behaviors. Women of a certain age more than others because of what's going on with your hormones. So just using strategies to overcome your emotional eating is key for that age group.
Can you share any tips specifically for women in their 40s and 50s who might be going through premenopause or menopause?
So going for low sugar swaps. So if you just really want something sweet and a glass of water isn't going to do, just think about a low sugar swap, a sugar-free swap. Start off like that. Don't get yourself to have a real healthy food straight away if you don't normally eat that type of thing, because it's not going to last. Start off gradually. Get yourself used to having something else. An example is, for example, sugar-free jelly. That's got no calories in it, and it tastes sweet. So it will satisfy that emotion. It will satisfy your brain. It will think it's getting something sweet. when really there's no calories in it. That's just an example. Then as you get used to it and you get used to coping with it, you can swap to a healthier snack as time goes on. But the key is overcoming the behavior to start with, learning to cope with it a little bit differently. And that will build your motivation levels and drive you to make healthier choices in the future.
So Maxine, to wrap things up, can you give us a quick summary of everything we've covered and your final thoughts on emotional eating?
Overall, emotional eating can be the main barrier for weight loss. Think about your hunger and what it feels like. Are you really hungry, or is it emotional hunger? If it's emotional hunger, think about why that's happened. If it's stress, how could you deal with that stress? First of all, take a break away from your screen. And go for a healthy snack. If it's boredom, what can you do to engage your brain and your hands together? Once you engage the two of them together and you do that for 30 minutes, you won't feel hungry after that if it's emotional hunger. Think about your fatigue. Could it be tiredness? You're just not sleeping. You can't remember the last time you got a good night's sleep. If it is, it's key to solving that, because if you're tired, you're going to feel so hungry the next day. What can you do to improve your sleep? Think about your wind down routine before bedtime. Maybe an hour before bedtime, start your wind down, take your wind down time. Dim the lights, turn off devices, have a nice relaxing music on, a relaxing bath, something that's going to relax you. Once you've come up with those coping strategies, it's important to practice them regularly. Whenever you feel emotional hunger, start to listen to your body and think about the type of hunger you're feeling before you rush and go and get a snack to satisfy the hunger. Just think about those things, and after a while it will become automatic to you.
That was such a helpful and insightful conversation. Huge thanks to Maxine Palmer for sharing her insights on emotional eating. If this is something you've struggled with, I hope you're walking away with a few practical tools and a bit more self-compassion. And if you'd like more tailored support, I offer a one-to-one wellbeing package for InstructorLive Plus, where we work together to create a personalised fitness and lifestyle plan that fits your goals. The package includes a macronutrient breakdown tailored to your needs, a full meal plan, a customised fitness program, plus direct one-to-one support from me via chat, phone call or video call. You can message me directly here or head to InstructorLive to learn more. Until next time, take care of yourself. The InstructorLive Podcast with me, Austin Wilks. Your home for fitness, wellness and motivation.